Hey y'all, it's Sarah, and I wanted to talk about some more Dollar Tree ideas for February for your Happy Planner. If you're trying to find cheaper ways to get around stickers, things like that, I have been playing with a few ideas, and I've shared a couple things, but I wanted to share this because I'm going to pull these in. If you are still a little nervous about doodling, Dollar Tree carries this clear stamp set with all these kind of love themes. I'm going to be using one of these to finish out this spread. I've already gotten started. This is my practice book. It's an old outdated one, and I use it to play with ideas, test things out, see if they're going to work, see if they're going to bleed, see if they're going to fit, all of those kind of things. So I use an old one. I was just using plain notebooks, and this one was free anyway, so I figured, why not put it to some use? I want to go ahead and finish out this idea and show you what I did with this stamp. And I kind of turned it into a couple different things. If you notice, there's some candies with some wrappers, there are some suckers, there are some 3D candies, there's some more suckers. I just kind of switched them all out. There's some more with just wrappers. So let's do a couple of these. I still have some room that I can add on here. Mind you, this is just a practice one. This is not in my actual day-to-day planner. So I've got a little more room where I can kind of take off. But I am using this right here. I have a lot of inks, and out of everything I tried, this was the only one I found that gave me really good impressions and didn't bleed through. I'm sure there's probably others. This just happened to be what I found. I can't tell you much more about it because I have no idea how long I've had this. So I'm going to go ahead and ink this up just as it is. I don't know if you can see that. So anytime you use these clear stamps, you've got to have some kind of acrylic block for them to go on. And they stick. You can remove them, stick them back, remove them, stick them again. If you're not used to playing with these, you can wash them and let them dry, and they'll completely stick again. I've got some that are a good 15 years old. So these last a long time, and they're completely reusable without taking up as much room as rubber stamps. So I think I've got it inked pretty good. I'm going to do this a couple of times. That way I can show you what I did to alter each one of them to get a little different look. You know what? I think I'm going to start over here because I've got all this room here that I think I can play with. So I'm going to stagger these a little bit. I'm going to try not to wiggle it around too much. It's okay if you don't get a perfect impression because some of mine probably will not be a perfect impression. In a couple of spots, I feel like the stamp was defective and couldn't get a good impression because look at the little bow. Yet in almost all of these, or pretty much all of these, I couldn't get the bow to stamp. And if I look at it from the side, I don't think it's super even. So I'm just going to do my best. Not as dark of an impression as the other one made, but it's okay. By the time I color these in, I think it'll be okay. If not, you can always go over it with a pen and darken it up a little bit. I'm definitely trying to make sure I get this inked up. Like I said, I don't know how old this ink pad is. It does still seem to be pretty juicy, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like there's some problems with my stamp. So I think I'm going to stagger this one again as well. That's really up to you. You can kind of stamp them wherever you'd like, or wherever you have the room. So I'm going to add a few over here. That way I get a chance to show you the different alterations. So this one stamped looked like several different containers of candies and things like that. Maybe one about here. And then probably one more. And I think that will give me enough options to sit and play with them and show you a couple things. I wish back in my stamping days and my scrapbooking days, Dollar Tree had these deals like this, because this is a really cute stamp set, and I think you could really use it for more than just Valentine's. This one's kind of love dominant, but it had some images that I think you could use. This one would be really cute for any time. The lettering is always cute, so I feel like you could get a lot of use out of this. Set my ink aside. These have all had plenty of time now for that ink to sit and dry. And anywhere that might not have printed, I can always come in and retrace that. But I want you to see what I was talking about. No matter how inked I had it, the bows did not show up on any of these. But that's okay, because I found a way to get around that, and I'm going to pull this to the side so we can kind of look at the ways that I went around that and alter these a little bit. These are the colors that I use for this entire spread. You can see there's nothing fancy. These things are worn out. These are just some classic broad markers, and then this knockoff. You guys know what this is a knockoff of. I'm going to go ahead and color these in and then fill in any places that need to be filled in. And to do that, literally, I just colored in. And I still may add some color after this point. And I'm not even doing a perfect job coloring those in. It's okay. Don't sweat any of this. This one, honestly, these are bold and they're fun, and try not to take them too seriously. So I'm just rotating out the colors. And I don't really think it matters which way I'm coloring these in. Try not to overlap with your colors. It's okay if you leave white spots. It's better to leave white spots than to scratch over and over and keep applying ink in the same place. So now that I've done that, I want to try to do a couple of repairs in some of these spots that didn't come out well. One of those being the hearts up here. I'm just using a Papermate flare. We know these, we love these. It just happened to match really well with the ink distribution that this stamp set kind of put down. So I did that part. I am going to come in and add some little hearts here where my little ribbons didn't really show through all the way. And I'm not even really going to put hearts. I'm going to do like a small letter V. But since it's fat, it basically turns it into a heart. So in all those little weird spots, I just did a little letter V, and that pretty much hid anything that I needed to hide or that didn't stamp out good, that might have not got the perfect image. I didn't ruin anything. I think I can move on from here. I'm going to find some kind of gray. Any gray. I've got, this one is a Power Line highlighter. I'm just doing the lids of all of those jars. I'll go ahead and come over here and do the lid of this jar and that jar. Simple enough. That'll give it time to dry. I needed some kind of light blue color. I happen to have this Crayola Super Tip. It's in a really, really pale blue. I'm not even sure if you guys can see it on the screen. So I came down one side and just partially down the other. Down one side and just partially down the other. I didn't want to overlap the colors too much, but I wanted to give that illusion of that blue glass kind of look. I might even do this little area there at the bottom. I'm going to add some things to this, so same thing for all of them. So the next thing I did was I made lollipops out of some of them, and I'm just going to grab something that will work as a straight edge. I've got just a stencil here as a straight edge, and I'm bringing my pen in. I think I'm just going to pick this one right here to be my lollipops or my suckers. And I just came down with a straight line, moved over a little bit, and come down with another one. There's a little stick there. A little stick there. So now I've got suckers in this one. These jars only had, they only had 3 little hearts in it. You can always add more. Let's say I wanted to add another one. I could just come in with my marker. Try to add a heart. I don't know that I did that great of a job. I'm going to put a couple hearts in some of these. Mostly they came out like blobs. I can straighten that up as I come in to do this part. So that's close enough for me. If I wanted to look like there's a lollipop stick behind there, I might come down to that point. Same here, just outline over that pink blob. Now it looks like there's a little more in this jar. To give it where they looked like they had more of a 3D look, all I did was come off the hearts that were there a little bit along the edge and then swoop down and back up again. Maybe you can see that. And you don't even have to get that part perfect. Now I might want to add some color down those sides. And let's see, where's the aqua? Well, I did that one wrong, but my next step on these was to come in, there it is, with just a white pen. I'm using a Uniball Signo, but whatever white pen is your favorite. And maybe give it some little highlights there. This also helped lighten some of those black lines that were already in that stamp. They were cute for details, but they did make it kind of dark. So that just kind of brightened those up a little bit. Here's a good time for me to fix that one I just messed up. There's no rhyme or reason to these curved lines that I'm putting in. Just somewhere on the top and somewhere on the bottom. Around one part and maybe the other. And then one last thing that I did to all of them, maybe you can see this little reflective line here. So I just came in and drew all the way down, almost to where, almost mimicked this line. And I went over everything that was there. You want it to cast that white over all those things. All the little hearts. So now it's kind of like it has a reflective surface. If I wanted to make these little tiny hearts a little more clear, I might come in with a pen and outline them. Now you cannot tell that the bow on my particular one didn't come out super great. You could also take it another step further and come in with some kind of gray and shadow around all the things in your jar. I didn't necessarily find that I needed to do that. I did the jars themselves instead. So I just kind of shaded around the edge of the jar and down along the bottom. This is a really pale color. And I'll show you really quick. I found this at a pop shelf in their pen display, and I love this as a shadow color. So it's made by Sakura, and it's called their Koi Coloring Brush Pen, and this particular color is light cool gray. It makes a perfect shadowing color because it is just so faint. It's just a little bit without getting intrusive into your work. So let's pop over here. Now that I've done those, let's do another variation where I'm just going to make a little kind of triangle off two sides of that. Colored it in. We'll call that colored in. Best I could do. With each one of these small, or these individual hearts, I'm going to try to do a little triangle from one end to the other. And that one, I think I'll just leave them as they are. I'll just leave them as regular hearts in the jar. So every single one of these, I just put kind of a triangle at the edge. You can see here's one of those hearts that I kind of need to repair. Although by the time you get color on it, it's not too bad. My next step was to just come in and kind of outline where that wrapper edge showed up. Just like that. So now all of my jars have something a little different. Even though it's the very same stamp and I didn't have to alter the stamp any, it gives me the feeling that there's more than just one. And I still get the fun of coloring all these in. I'll come in with my little white detail pen. I'm going to try to show individual ideas instead of super long videos sometimes. Since this is not my normal planner, this is just what I play in, it's a little easier for me to do that. So the last thing I might do is, there's been a little time for that gray to dry on my lid. I might come in from one edge to the other edge, just a little bit on each edge, and then maybe just something like that, a little white dash and a dot. My last step is to come in and put the little glass reflection in, just like that. And on this one, since I showed you how to put the hearts on the other one, where the bow is messed up on this one, I'm just going to finish out the loop. Maybe put a little knot and put another little loop right there so that everybody is finished out. And I'm not even going to worry about where that heart didn't stamp all the way. And as far as the other ones go, it's not a big deal either. If you look, it's really no big deal where they didn't stamp maybe as clearly as you would hope right when you stamped it down. Let's add my little highlights on my jar lid here. If you put too much pressure on these pens, they don't want to put down as much white as you usually can get them to put down. I am having to learn that. I tend to be heavy-handed with my pens. So the lighter that you write with any of your white gel pens, the better off you are on getting like a nice crisp white line. Okay, let's look at this all the way. Here is what I have kind of at the end. You can see how cute and really custom those turned out to be, even though it's one stamp over and over. By coloring some of the jars the same color and adding a few more hearts, you can get a fuller jar. You can alter it into suckers and wrapped candy and dimensional candy. And if you're interested, I'm actually going to be doing a doodle version of this for the month of February, where it's a little more detailed. It's, let's see, I might have it handy. Actually, I think it's on the back of this. Let's just take a quick peek. Let's pop this in place and look at the back of it. I wanted to show two variations. So this one is using the stamp, and you still get a completely custom look. And like I said, I think the stamp could be used for more than just February. Now, here is a little different custom version. You guys wonder if I do back and forth, if I had bleed through. You just saw what markers I used, how bold these colors are, and I've got pastels on this side. So, but you can see I'm doing a slightly different variation of this for the month of February as far as showing hand doodles for the month. So I'll be playing with those ideas as well. But I did want to do a little bit in pastel and a little bit in bright colors so you guys could see kind of the variation, because I do get asked that a lot, whether or not I have a lot of problem with bleed through. And you can kind of see this is a pretty heavily inked page, and this is the other side of it. I've shared some of these other Dollar Tree and February ideas. And look, don't be caught up on perfection, because if you notice here, these hearts are really not perfect. None of them are the same, but they ended up being cute, I think, to mark my hydration. This is more use of Dollar Tree stamps, and if you're on any of the groups I play on, you've probably already seen this one. This will be another doodle coming up for the month of February, so if you're interested in learning any of these, this will be part of my February actual doodles and not just, I kind of wanted to share both types of ideas. Really cost-effective ways to do your planner that maybe just isn't drawing and just isn't stickers. And hopefully some of those ideas come across. But I think this turned out pretty cute and playful. Obviously, you would not have to use colors this bold. This would be just as cute in the pastels, I think. I just happen to like these fun, playful colors for the month of February because I think Valentine kind of lends itself to being a little bit extra anyway. So that's all I wanted to share. I hope you might have picked up an idea or two and maybe saw a cute way to dress up a stamp you already have. Or if you happen to see this stamp or you've picked this stamp up, now you've got at least one idea on ways to use it. And I imagine I will probably come up with a few other ones before the year is up. That's all I've got. I plan to hang out with you guys soon.